Hello watch fans, before me here I have a really exciting new release from Vulcain Watches from Switzerland. This is their newest release. I did an unboxing first impressions video of this watch. If you want to see the full unboxing, click the link up in the right hand corner or down in the description. Also for Danish, Norwegian and Swedish viewers, I did a written review in Danish with a lot of pictures. You can find the link down in the description. So let's have a closer look at the watch. It comes in this nice, I do believe it's a plastic box with golden writing. And here we have the watch. This is the brand new Vulcain Skindiver Chronograph. So this is the Skindiver Chronograph version of the Skindiver dive watch. This is also a watch that looks back into the history of Vulcain watches because they did release some really cool chronograph watches in the 1960s and 1970s. And just in case anybody is wondering, they did release these types of chronograph watches way before Tudor released any chronograph watch. So Vulcain are not homaging any Tudor watches or anything like that. I did get a few comments about that. So let's take the watch out of the box and get all the details and get a closer look. And here we have the watch up and close. You can see here the friction-based ceramic bezel insert. So having a closer look at the chronograph, this is the white silvery version, the panda version of two versions. They also did release an inversed panda, so with white subdials and a black dial. So if you want the black look, you can also find that. And then you can get the watch on either this stainless steel bracelet here or a variety of other strap options. The watch, it measures 39.9 millimeters in diameter. It has a lock-to-lock distance of 47 millimeters. If you include the male end links here, it is approximately 50 millimeters, but it wears much smaller than that. It is 14.8 millimeters in thickness, and you have a lock opening of 20 millimeters, so you can easily put on other straps. The case design is very reminiscent of 60s case designs. It looks very tough tooly, but when you get a closer look, you get really beautiful details like the chamfering here, which is polished, a nice polished underside of the bezel, and then this nice polished part here, really nice brushing on top of the locks, and the bracelet is completely brushed except for the edges here. They are really nicely polished. They are screws, so it's very easy to adjust this bracelet. You see we get a very heavily domed sapphire crystal, which adds to the height of this watch. As I said before, a black ceramic bezel insert. This is not click based, but it is friction based, so you don't get the same security as you get with clicks. It is a 200 meter water resistant dive watch. That is very impressive for a chronograph watch. Inside of the watch beats an ETA 7753. This has 46 hours of power reserve, and it beats at 28,800 revolutions per hour. This version here has the running seconds at 9 o'clock, and then you get a 30-minute counter at 3 o'clock. Really nice silvery dial. On the pictures on their website, it really just appears white. Maybe a little bit bland, a little bit of a boring white. In real life, it has almost kind of a silvery, almost kind of a little bit of a golden tone. It looks really nice, and it has a lot of light play. You also see that the subdials, they are sunburst. A really nice detail is the high polished hour markings, which are applied and filled with Swiss Superluminova. That is the same with the baton style hands. Minimal of writing, so Vulcain, the number of jewels, Inca block shock protection system, and then Swiss made down here. And from the side here, the two push buttons here for engaging, stopping and resetting the chronograph, and then the screw down signed crown. So stainless steel case back here, you see the 200 meters of water resistance with a diver. So the bracelet here is very vintage inspired with these big fat links here. In my honest opinion, I don't really like the design, the look. It is very historic correct, probably, but it wears really nicely despite of these big links. And a huge plus is the beautiful clasp here, 2 push button release. And then you get an on-the-go micro adjustment. You just push the button and then you adjust. Really nice feature, both for diving and in everyday use. If your wrist just expands a bit, during the day. Now let's have a closer look at the accuracy of the movement, the ETA 7753. This is the modern version, or the ETA version of the famous Valjoux movement. It has stood the test of time and it's a real great movement at this price point. So as you see, very nice accuracy, no beat error, nice amplitude. It is a very healthy movement between 3 and 4 seconds plus per day. Also a loom shot with the Swiss Super Luminova. I must say, for a chronograph watch and a vintage inspired watch, it does a really great job with the loom. Very useful, and it really does make this watch a dive watch. Really nice heft to the watch. Let's have the weight. As you see, it is definitely not a light watch, but it's really nice to wear on the wrist. And here the watch is on my 17 centimeter wrist circumference. It wears perfectly. This is the perfect size for me with this approximately 40 millimeter big watch. You do have some heft. You do feel that you're actually wearing a dive watch or sports watch. And it just looks great with the panda layout of the dial. Also, it looks great on a lot of other straps. My favorite strap option is on an Artem Hydroflex strap here. Top quality straps. I'm leaving a link to the reviews of these straps down below. It just really wears nicely on this strap, and I think it really complements the black subdials and the black bezel insert. Price of this watch is in dollars approximately $3,000, and in euros approximately 2,800 euros, and this is, in my opinion, the best option below 3,000 US dollars or 2,800 euros. It's on par with Tudor chronographs. Definitely, I think you don't get the same movement. You don't get 70 hours of power surf, but 46 hours of power surf and a tried and tested ETA Valjoux movement is just as good in my opinion. And I must say that the wearability, the size and the overall finish and quality of this watch is definitely on par with Tudor. It's definitely on par or better than Oris, and it is on par with Longines. So you definitely get a best in class watch with this watch, in my opinion, because the other brands I just mentioned, they are more expensive. Of course, also full disclosure, in this video I did get the watch from Vulcain and I get to keep the watch. That is full disclosure. Still, I'm giving you my honest opinion about this watch. And it is not perfect. I would have wished that they didn't use a friction-based but a click-based bezel insert. I do see that it actually turns while wearing the watch. So it's not as secure as a dive watch, and it is a bit annoying to have OCD with the triangle here, and then I wear the watch and all of a sudden I just see that the bezel has moved. Also, the bracelet is definitely not my taste. It is very comfortable. It doesn't look comfortable, but it is comfortable, and the clasp is really good. But I think it just looks a little bit dated, a little bit weird. On the other hand, it is a nice thing that they don't just use a Jubilee bracelet or an Oyster bracelet just to keep it a little more original. But this watch is a strap monster, so you can easily put on other straps. Size-wise, it is close to perfect. And as you saw before, although this is almost 15 millimeters thick, it wears much slimmer. I do feel it's like 13 millimeters. And that is probably because a lot of the height of the watch, it is from the sapphire crystal. So if you don't like these more chunky watches, this is definitely something to consider. So my opinion, best in class, below $3,000 or below 3,000 euros. This is a quality watch. They did a really nice job, and my favorite is definitely the white dial here. But it is a very, very saturated market, so definitely a lot of competition for this watch. I am leaving a link down in the description towards Vulcain's website if you want to order this watch, if you want to have a closer look at this watch. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to visit Vulcain's website. Leave a comment down below, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye.